The American Constitutional Republic. Affairs of state in Oklahoma. The beliefs, principles, opinions, and views of people just like me. This is 3D Politics. Featuring political humorist, father of five, your verbal Viking, Tommy McKay, every week, Monday, come rain or shine. It's amazing how we've been able to pull it off so far. Even Facebook jumped back in on the fray at the very last moment today. Exciting show tonight. We've got the Republican Liberty Caucus chairman of Orange County. He is a candidate for U.S. Congress, Florida District 10. We are going to be talking about the campaign outlook for U.S. Congress, and we're going to talk about his perennial political picks. There is a recall in October of Mayor Jerry Demings. Political consultant David Dambroso will join us late in the show, but without further ado, as I create my Freedom Foundation, fighting against all those other sister cities and sister states that the feds and the municipalities use it against us. Now we're reaching out all the way to Orange County. Please welcome Dr. Willie J. Montague. Should be there joining us, and let's also join your audio. You are muted. I can see you got a mute.
There you go.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Right. Willie J. Montague. So real quickly, you've been on the show before. Thanks again for coming. You work so hard, you make everybody look lazy, if you ask me. I was watching an interview of yours, I don't know what it was, just recently, RIM
yes.
interview, okay. And I was 5 minutes into that and everything froze up. And of course, my first thought was the government's after me. You know, they're always, first of all. But that's where it froze up. But he said on that interview, you are all over social media. It's fantastic. Not only do you do that, but you're helping out the 9th to 12th grade boys with the stuff in Orlando. Real quickly, in the press release, are you still president of Insignia Christian Academy?
Yes, well, in fact, that is updated to Element 26 Christian Academy. We are super excited about the opportunity to launch off our school here soon. We have some major support. Element 26 is the atomic number of iron. So Proverbs 27:17 says iron sharpens iron. And so that's where we're coming in. 9th to 12th grade boys, sharpen them up, get them prepared for society.
That's excellent, because this this is progress made and results in, because this was all supposed to open in the fall of 2021, and here you go. So this is excellent. Also, lead pastor at Gravity Church, author of The Fruits of Leadership, and founder and president of House of Timothy, which really God has just absolutely blessed that thing. Apparently, you never intended to, or never expected, I should say, for it to explode like it did, but you're just really providing some great benefit for the boys there. Tell them real quickly what House of Timothy is, and then we'll get to our analysis.
Absolutely. House of Timothy is a nonprofit organization. We focus on youth and young adult boys ages 7 to 25. We help in the area of substance use, we mental health, and we help to really cultivate them to learn how to be assets versus liabilities. And we work with young boys, said ages 7 all the way to 25. So we have quite a large range there.
That's amazing. And providing some male leadership. A lot of these kids apparently without father or some sort of paternal guidance there. So it's amazing, some of the stuff. So look that up, House of Timothy, there with Dr. Willie Montague. So you said, I asked you on the show because you said some time ago that you were going to reveal your political picks. I gave it the name Dr. Willie's Perennial Political Picks. So you said you were going to reveal those picks. So I want to just kind of go in depth. And again, the reason for my Oklahoma viewers, the reason I'm bringing up Florida is because I'm creating the Freedom Federation. Dr. Willie is on board with individual freedom. It doesn't matter if he's in Florida. We've got to follow the lead. You were just recently at a thing with the mover and shaker, Ron DeSantis, as a keynote speaker. Real quickly, what was that?
Well, yeah, we had a Lincoln Day dinner in Seminole County's Republican Executive Committee, and we were able to be in the VIP reception and got to hear a quick 7-minute speech from the governor, and then he went over into the main area for a 45-minute speech. So
Wow.
it was a wonderful experience. I was able, of course, to meet other candidates and elected officials. Quite frankly, I've been traveling all over meeting elected officials from state GOP leaders. I was just in Kansas about 2 weeks ago. So, we're on the move. We're out there looking for true constitutional conservative candidates who are going to fight. And so that is why I want to make that. I'm still in the process of looking at candidates because, candidates are jumping in. But I have looked at, of course, we're going all the way for our governor here because he's up for re-election in 2022. So we're going to go up there. I wanted to stop real fast before I even go that to just really mention how we need to cover his wife in prayer. She was diagnosed with breast cancer today. And just make sure that, we're praying for the first family for here in Florida. But of course, he is on my list for here in Florida. We have Billy Fimp, which is in New Jersey. I am supporting and endorsing him. I'm also supporting Antonio Pagano, which is also he's in Maryland. I'm supporting him. I am supporting Alex Stovall in Phoenix, Arizona, Congressional District 9. I'm supporting and endorsing him. I am supporting L.A. Jones in District 11 here in Florida. And I'm supporting currently our Representative Byron Donalds, who is already elected, but I'm supporting him for another term, as well as I am supporting and endorsing the Madison Cawthorn. And his support. We need Firebrands that are in Congress, and we need to continue to have them stirred up in Congress. So anyone that's a firebrand and a conservative fighter like Marjorie Taylor Greene, all 435 seats are up for election. And any firebrand that that is up there, that is the person that I am endorsing. I am currently looking at all of the states because I want to make sure that all the states have true representation. I'm actually friends with Jackson Lawmeyer. And so looking at that race, I have had personal runs in with I can't think his name, the current senator that is there.
Langford.
I had, when I was back in Oklahoma, wasn't too pleasant with those encounters, but I feel like what we realized when I was in Oklahoma, there was a system that was set up, and it was really not set up for those who were conservatives. And now they're ready for that conservative movement. And so I actually plan to come to Oklahoma within the next couple of weeks to be able to get on the ground and start working out there to make sure that the conservative candidates are elected. But all through East Coast is what I'm focusing on, all up to the Midwest. Joe Collins, that is in California, I'm supporting him. He is running against Maxine Waters. So I am supporting him and endorsing him in California. Aji Smith is also running for Congress in District 43, I believe it is, in California. She's a fighter. She is a veteran. She's out there conservative. Also, Dr. I forgot her name that fast. Excuse the background noise. Dr. What's her name? She's in Georgia. I will remember. I just listen to so many names.
While it'll come back to you while we're going here. Now, this is a long list. I'm not stopping you because you're on a roll. But I do want to, I don't pour out all your sticks at one bit, but let's tune everybody into where they can find this list at Team Willie. Tell them how to find you and find this list and donate to your campaign there in Florida.
Right. My website is teamwillie.com. We'll be putting up the list on our website of candidates. What I normally do is if you go to my Facebook page, I'll normally put up a blurb about that person, and then I'll share it on my congressional page. And so that's Dr. Willie Montague. You can find that at Facebook.com/Team Willie. Pretty much anything that's Team Willie is connected to our campaign. Right. And that's where we're going to upload the list. But real fast before I do that, I do want to say Roger Alice, that is in Florida Congressional District 21. So make sure to look it up. But I will be putting the list up. What I've been doing from state races to U.S. races, I am creating a list, and I will be putting them up on our website and social media because it's important that if you're going to donate, donate directly to the candidates. Because candidates are getting robbed left and right with some of these organizations that are supposed to be supporting the candidate, and we got to stop that. If you at all possible donate directly to the candidate. I know we still got snail mail. It takes 2 to 3 days or 4 days to get it, but mail a check off if you can. If you do want to donate online, make sure it's through Anodot or something like that is secure. But just don't donate to a company or organization and then get them to send us. That's just like, donating to, some organizations say, we're helping the dogs, and really they're paying their administrative fees. The dogs are not getting any food.
Just because it says it's Republican doesn't mean that money's going to trickle to the right people. We talk a lot of times about left and right and liberal and conservative, and really progressive is the word I think is the real problem, whether it's progressive on the right or progressive on the left. A progressive is by definition a liar. For almost everybody else, you shake hands and say, okay, the deal is done. For the progressive, your deal done is their first step. It's like they never end. And sometimes it's on the right and sometimes it's on the left. Progressive is the caustic entity we got to get out. Besides, I want to I want to pick your brain about the 17th Amendment, but please, everybody go check it. Now, this list of candidates that you've poured out for us, these are nationwide, not just in Florida, correct?
Right. This will be a nationwide list because we started back in July. If those that are familiar with Pastor Greg Locke, and we started something called America Matters rally. So we go around throughout Orange County, throughout the 67 counties that are here, but we plan to go across the country to really support candidates. In the first 6 months of this year, I spent most of the time on the road. I was in Dallas, I was in Vegas, I was,
I know. I can see every time I scroll, it's like, there he is.
And now we're back on the road again. We are currently, like I said, getting ready to go, getting ready to get back up there. I just was in Kansas speaking on critical race theory out there.
Excellent. One of the areas that you really aligned with me was your anti-Val Demings. This gal really frosted me during the Trump impeachment hearings, and that is when, and I had never heard of her before, and that was the day that I realized every seat matters. Every seat in every state matters. And please, Willie, you send me that list when you put it together, because that's probably going to be my beginning of my Freedom Foundation list. Freedom Foundation, no matter what state you're from, city or municipal, it doesn't matter. If you're on the right side of the issues, we've got to pull together and use the networking we can, especially online. That's what I'm trying to do with my tiny little platform here, is reach out as far as I can. Also, you have an Oklahoma connection, so share that with us too, to remind people how you have a connection just shortly, and then we'll move on to more campaign outlook.
Yeah, well, I attended Rainbow Bible College right there in Broken Arrow, and I was in Oklahoma from 2007 to 2014 when my mother got sick. So I'm still pretty connected. Actually, my home church is there in Broken Arrow on West Church Street.
Wow.
And so it's down there off of, right down there, Broken Arrow, down from the McDonald's on the corner down off of Elm. And so I am really excited about coming back. It's been a few years since I've been there, and I would love to get involved. I plan on doing some fundraising as well as some scouting out there for those that are ready to fight for our Constitution.
That's excellent. You're listening to Dr. Willie Montague, candidate for U.S. Congress, Florida District 10, also founder and president of the House of Timothy, doing a lot of good work for the young 9th to 12th grade boys, and even expanding that out there in Orlando. So you reeled off a lot of names real quickly. And before we move on specifically to your fight there in Florida, what are the big, you kind of mentioned some of the firebrands. Let's go back to who's the real up-and-comers, in the same way that DeSantis looks like an up-and-comer from a presidential standpoint as a governor. Who on that list is your first string people coming up?
I really think we need to be paying attention to Byron Donalds, Kat Kammick, Matt Madison Cawthorn, really this generation of millennials that are rising up right now. That's who we need to pay attention to. And the reason I'm a firm believer, I'm a pastor, and the scripture that always sticks out to me is he uses the young because they are strong, and he uses the older because they are wise. And so we need the wisdom, but we need that strength and that speed. And these are individuals who have strength, they have speed. And what I mean that they have the ability to go out there and just get it done.
They
and so
stay
these
up
are people
later.
that we need to be
Yeah,
keeping
yeah.
we need to be keeping our eye on, because they're really, really, really about getting the Constitution, the foundation of the Constitution implemented in our country again, and making sure that we're adhering to the Constitution and not what Congress uses, which is like 1,600 pages of their made up version of the Constitution versus our Constitution that should be followed.
Well, and these days we are so confused on just the basic meanings of words. We're saying end endless wars, which is like nonsensical. We're calling things that are not wars wars, and everything is there's a scripture for this one too. Everything's upside down right now. So I really am amazed at your efficacy. You're able to really get a lot done, not only in your hometown there in Orlando, but you're just kicking the crap out of it politically, really traveling a lot. So you're young and strong as well, and we old guys appreciate it. So tell us more specifically about your particular race in Florida. We want to get this broadcast or podcast is going to be available on YouTube, and so you can utilize this information from your home state. Tell us about the Florida District 10 fight, who you're up against, and what you need. What are you going to need? When are the critical dates of elections, etc.? Let's talk a little bit about your specific. I appreciate your time. You're a busy man, and you being here helps me out. Tell us about your specific battle there in Florida District 10.
Well, we'll start with the primary. We are one of the states that have a later primary, which is happens to be in August. Well, we know right now that the lines are being redrawn all across the nation for those who, because of the census that, according to the Constitution, every 10 years. And so right now, that is what we are looking at. We're looking at the lines being redrawn. And right now, I'm thinking that they're trying to shrink the district. According to the Florida Redistricting .gov website, it shows that we're overpopulated about 15 to 20%, and the neighboring district is overpopulated about 50%, which means that they have to have an even number. So we believe that they're going to pull out voters and pull out residents, period. And then they're going to create, we are getting another district. We are getting another congressional district in the state of Florida. We have 27 currently, so we're going to get a 28th district. We believe it's going to be right here in Central Florida where I am. So I believe they're going to pull out some of the red areas and make a district that some have been saying super blue. Now that goes into me personally. Just a few months ago, we were PVI, which is how they determine how many more Democrats there are than Republicans, or how many Republicans there are than Democrats. And we have a D+10 as of a couple of months ago, but now we are a D+12. Now,
okay, hold it. You're right here. When you start talking numbers, what is a PVI?
The PVI is the number, and let me find out exactly, because I know
you have sharing privileges. If you find something that you'd like to share, you can share it on the screen.
Yes, I am doing that right now. PVI, give me, okay, it is the Partisan Voting Index.
Partisan Voting Index.
Partisan Voting Index. So the PVI is what determines what we look at, whether we look at a district, whether it's viable or not for that particular party.
Okay, so if you have a plus, what'd you say? Now let's get to the numbers. Now that I know what a PVI is, you had a plus what?
We had a +10. That was a few months ago. Now we're at a +12. So that means for every Republican, there's 12 Democrats.
So +12 is bad for you.
Absolutely.
I don't do numbers real well, but I know where the number line is.
Yes.
So very good. So now this is the district that they are creating. Is that correct?
Well, they're going to create another district. What we're thinking they're going to do is going to create this district to possibly be maybe a D+5. But we definitely know it will not be a Republican district. And because of that, a lot of people are staying away from it because they feel like because Orange County is so blue. But I don't look at it based off of the blue or the red. I look at it more of that every district is winnable based off of the candidate that is working hard enough to be able to get on the ground and get into those communities, engaging and making sure that they're available for the constituents.
Wow, now that is bold. I have tried to sell people on the idea that money, a message is more important than the money. People say, oh, he's got a war chest. I'm like, people want the content. Content is king. Message trumps money.
I
And
like
so
that. I'm gonna have to take that and put it
do
on
it.
my
No,
Facebook.
we are building a freedom federation. Use it. Please use it, especially if it works. And then come back and say, hey, Tom, that worked.
Yes, it works.
Yeah, so that's good. Now, so the problem you're having, and again, I don't mind to ask the audience questions. D12 down to D5 is supposed to be a good thing for you. However, because it's not flipping all the way to red, that's the problem your constituents are having. Some people are staying away from it because it's not. They're purists.
Well, it's not the constituents. It's as we call the powers that be. So it's more
Yeah,
or
I
less.
didn't mean that word. Well, back it up. What I mean, I'm trying to. Who's staying away from it, even though it's working in what I perceive to be the right direction? D12 is worse than D5. It's going in the right direction. You said some people are staying away from it. I still don't
Yes.
understand why.
Well, because people look at it. For example, 6 years ago, this was a Republican area, and that was because it had some of Lake County, which is conservative. A lot of times, the last couple of races that have been in Orange County have been lost by Republicans. And so after and as this is why I made a statement prior, it's not the district that's not winnable. It's the candidates that they're putting in the races. The candidates are spineless. They have no backbone.
Okay.
They're jellyback. They don't have enough fight in them to win. So now that I come along and we're pressing in the community, we're pressing, onto the REC, which is our, county party, Republican Executive Committee. So
Okay.
now that we're pressing on them to engage and get involved in the Black communities, get involved, in different areas. Now it's, well, Willie, it's pretty much people have given up hope. Well, what I'm saying is that the number is not. One thing about Democrats is they never look at a Republican area and say, gee, I can't win that. They put all of their effort and money to flip that district from red to blue. Why do we have a hesitation when it comes to the Republican Party?
God, you're right. That is so right on. And apparently it like runs in the whole nationwide problem with the whole party. Because I've seen this, there's similar issues here in Oklahoma. I'm sure there's similar issues everywhere. So, well, you got some amazing energy put forth to try to push this, and I think you're exactly right. There is it's kind of like the silent majority. I hate to ring the old man bell, but I mean the idea that there is a group of people out there that you haven't heard from in either side of the polling booth because isn't anybody worth it, And when finally somebody shows up that looks like they will literally fight, literally do a thing, saying the right stuff and being there and being accessible, then suddenly it's not about the money. Then the numbers come out. How do we defeat now a lot of people got deflated. A lot of people got deflated with the election integrity. How, even if you've got the right message, even if the volume of the turnout of people who love you can outweigh the money, how do we beat the nasty voting machine? How do we win that? How do we fix
Ballots.
that? Do what?
Paper ballots.
Paper ballots. Voting day. Yes, it seems so.
Yeah.
I love that idea of being an old guy. Paper ballots. So what about ranked choice voting? You ever heard of that one?
Rank choice. Oh
Yeah. Run like hell.
I've seen how that has destroyed in fact, one of my friends who just endorsed me, he was endorsed by the party, the state party. He had the backing of Kim Klacik. He, he was all over the place. Vernon Jones endorsed him. He had support. But here comes this ranked choice because, it could be Republicans, Democrats, whoever, and the top two go on to the general. And, so it could be two Democrats. It's not a Democrat versus Republican. And that's what happened to him. And he was the party choice.
Yeah.
So ranked choice, we definitely don't need it here in Florida because we have a lot of just, it wouldn't work.
I'm just tickled pink to hear that. I love that. Yeah. Bad on that. So my big hang up is also 17th Amendment. The 17th Amendment. And so you've seen it recently where the senators are battling like the House of Representatives, Democrats here, Republicans here. And it dawned on me the other day, why? The 17th Amendment has caused the House of Representatives to be nothing. The 17th Amendment has caused the Senate to be nothing more than a glorified House of Representatives because they're all on a popularity contest according to, how many personal votes they can get. And when they get up there, they're defending party, not the state. They're not beholden to any state legislature. So the 17th Amendment, in my opinion, is basically one of the main wobbling wheels that we've got to fix. We've got to run like hell from ranked choice voting. And the 17th Amendment, we've got to fix that. I don't know how we've got to get people like you from the newly founded Freedom Federation and get the money, get the message over the money. How can we get the 17th Amendment over? What about Convention of States?
That's something we was discussing yesterday, and I'm looking into that right now. I'm not. I think that can open more of a can of worms if you kind of look at it, because there's some things with these things that I'm seeing coming on the table that I think that can end up being more of a weapon against the conservative movement and the Constitution later on. And I'm seeing that there's a quote, I can't remember who the quote is by, and I heard it that if we use the language of tyranny, we will never have true liberty. And so I believe that's what's happening now, is that the language of tyranny has been mixed in a lot of these candidates who are just going with the typical talking points. And when they go with the typical talking points, they get caught up in it before we know they're snared. Because if you look in DC right now, like the swamp is so infectious and poisonous that people go up there with the message of I'm going to drain the swamp, and before we know it, they're sitting in the same toilet. So we really got to start monitoring, and we are, as you're right, the senators that we have, and they are not following the Constitution, the 17th Amendment. They're not following the outline that is there and given. And this is why we need to really, people need to look up the John Birch Society and really go through some of those classes and look at the way of, outlining what the Constitution stood for, what it is that our founding fathers meant, and get back to the original plan, precept, and foundation of the Constitution. And what's happening right now is because I'm looking around at our country, and I'm looking at some of the elected officials, and really, as you said, I look at social media, and it's who can post the most, who can make fancy graphics, who can do those things, and it's never really about true country. It's not about preserving.
It's almost 100% name recognition. I mean, it literally, nobody knows anybody's politics. It's either, she's either a woman or she fits this category or he fits that category, and it doesn't have anything to do with anything. I am super happy to hear that Dr. Willie Montague with us this evening is supporting Jackson Lawmeyer. And the 17th Amendment we've got to rid ourselves of it, because the 17th Amendment is the thing that allowed senators to run a popularity contest. We're going to send you away for 30 seconds and come right back in. You guys stay tuned. Coming up about 7:45, we're bringing David Dambroso in to discuss the stuff. The American Constitutional Republic. Affairs of state in Oklahoma. The beliefs, principles, opinions, and views of people just like me. This is 3D Politics. Featuring political humorist, father of five, former Tulsa mayoral candidate, the Verbal Viking, Tommy McKay, right here every Monday night on 3D Politics. You can find the video archives on YouTube, and also all of the excitement happens at Tommy McKay right there on Facebook and Twitter. Tonight, Dr. Willie Montague, candidate for U.S. Congress, Florida District 10. He should be tuning right back in right now. Ask him to start his video. He's got the cue. All right, we got about a half hour left. We've got David Dambroso in the waiting room. Him in. I want to talk real quickly about that recall for Mayor Jerry Demings. Let's bring David Dambroso in so he knows he's coming, because he just joined us here. We'll see if we can beam him in.
Beam him in, Scotty.
There we should see if I can find. There it is. See if we can bring him in. There he is. David Dambroso, make sure we can hear you.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. Thanks for joining us. David Dambroso joining Dr. Willie Montague on 3D Politics with Tommy McKay, your Verbal Viking. David Dambroso, we've already cruised through a lot of the campaign outlook for U.S. Congress, Florida District 10, Dr. Willie's perennial political picks, and now we're going to touch real quickly on this recall about Mayor Jerry Demings from the Orange County Liberty Caucus Chairman, Dr. Willie. And I know, Dambroso, you have done some work there in Orange County as well. So let's hit that recall thing before we move on. There's a date, like October 9 or something.
Yeah, so October 9th is the date that we're having a barbecue / rally. So how we came about really focusing on the recall efforts is when the mandatory vaccines and mask mandate came down, especially when 200 of our first responders were facing being terminated for not getting the vaccine. And then there was another 1,700 employees of Orange County that were facing the same consequences. And so then what we did is we decided that there were many qualifications within the Constitution of the state of Florida that allowed for us to recall him, one being malfeasance, misfeasance. We had those areas, at least 3 out of the 7 listed. And then we got together with an attorney and decided also to file an injunction against him to sue him and the school board for their unconstitutional mandates. And so on October 9th at the Republican headquarters of Orange County, we are holding a rally / barbecue, get some food, get the petition, and let's get this man recalled before the election of 2022 so we can get a true constitutional conservative mayor that will stand up for the rights of the constituents of Orange County.
David Dambroso, what do you know about Demings?
He's a bad guy.
Simple, straightforward, boom. So that is found. So October 9th again?
Yes, it's October 9th at 11 a.m.
And the location?
It's the Orange County Republican headquarters. And there is a flyer out there, and I'm sure you can share it. There's a flyer circulating. They're the ones putting this together. I will be there speaking. We will have media, and we will have different county leaders, elected officials there standing with us as we make this. We've been making news across, throughout Central Florida with this. I believe that, this is serious. We're really going to pull this together. We need 44,000 petitions signed in 30 days. We can do that alone with the Republicans. We have 218,000 registered Republicans in Orange County. So we can do that with the Republicans alone. And then the next phase is to get 250,000 registered registered voters. And we're going to need everybody's help to do that. But I believe we're going to have some of the NPAs to be able to do that, because I think we have about 252,000 NPAs, which are, they outnumber both parties, actually. So I believe we'll be able to pull it together.
Dambroso, you're a guy who's worked a former field director. How does a guy like, how does Team Willie, what tools and strategies does a campaign manager and consultant like you, Dambroso, use to help get that many signatures and canvass that many people? What do you do?
The first thing you do is you go to the state and county party resources, and oftentimes they won't cooperate if it's for something serious or conservative. So then you get your own people, use your own networks, you contact using lists that are available. Actually, you don't have to use just the election board's lists. You've got civilian lists that are available for just anybody, just citizen lists of activists, of registered voters, and you mobilize those people to do your knocking, your phone banking.
You have got an echo or something. You might check and see if you've got a mic lit up or something. I can hear you fine, but it seems to be picking something up. So are these tools and stuff, these are something that Team Willie's already got figured out? Because it seems like you know what to me, it's an amazing task to do what you guys do. And so this is something that Team Willie knows how to do. Team Willie Montague, your mic is off.
Yes.
There you go. Okay.
But yeah, we have, there is something that we have studied. We, along with Frank Hunt, which is our constitutional counsel, have really looked at this and have made sure that I've met with our attorney to make sure that we have the grounds, which we didn't need an attorney to get the grounds, but we wanted to have an attorney to make sure we could do the injunction. And so I'm excited. Like I said, we've had, just by word of mouth alone, we had about 1,400 individuals that have signed just the prerequisite to our getting the actual petition signed. So I'm super excited about that. So we're able to collect 1,400 names of individuals who was like, hey, put me on the list. And so that was just word of mouth, no billboards, no flyers, no yard signs. So imagine what happens when we start getting billboards and signs and, all over the place. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be huge. And I believe we're going to pull it off and be victorious.
That is awesome. A lot of action going on in Florida with Willie Montague. David Dambroso, I appreciate you sharing your time tonight, coming in to give some analysis. We rang the bell pretty hard in Florida, just talking about who are the Firebrand up and comers who we like. Do you got anybody in Oklahoma that's your liking?
A lot of candidates, but it's a little bit too early to say anything specifically because we're working out some things behind the scenes.
Right.
Really,
you may not be able to say anything too.
I can tell you this. Really, something I'm very interested in is looking at each race. Sometimes there's more than one good candidate in many races, and so there's really nothing that has been done so far to utilize these candidates and to make sure that they have a future to serve in politics if they want to. Right now, typically, the system, the way it's set up, is those people are kind of discarded into the waste bin of history, and you never hear from them again. And they go back and they do fine for themselves, typically, but they don't get to help the public out in the way that they really would. I mean, good constitutional conservatives. So that's something I'm really working on right now. So until I get that worked out a little bit better, I can't say anything about some campaigns
that's fine.
right now.
I'm just trying to get some feedback. I know that here recently, of course, it's nice to hear that Dr. Montague is on board with Jackson Lawmeyer. I was early on with the Lawmeyer campaign. Recently, everybody here in Oklahoma knows that Nathan Dahm has also jumped into the fray, and I'm trying to be consistent like I was with the GOP chairman here in the state. The idea was that, well, if you like John Bennett, somebody can't run against him because now you're somehow a bad person. Well, no, I mean, actually, may the best man kind of win in a lot of ways, but this does reach an issue. We were talking before you got here, Dambroso, about message overcoming money. Holt has a war chest in Oklahoma City that is daunting to Frank Urbanik, or it's daunting to me, maybe not Urbanik, but Urbanik is up against a huge war chest. we have agreed with Dr. Montague here that the message is more important than the money. And so how do we focus the message after primarying ourselves to death? How do we focus a message like the Nathan Dom Lawmeyer split? If those guys don't come together publicly, like on my 3D politics platform here, or really anywhere, so that we can focus the message of the Republican Party. How do we get to that message focus?
Well, they both just have to stay on, like you said, on their message, talk about why they are qualified and really not a whole lot else. So what I'd like to see is for those guys not to attack each other, but rather to attack the non-constitutional candidate on policy, not attack him personally. So that's definitely always on the table. It's not an ad hominem, it's an attack on policy. So if they stay on message, attack Langford and what he's done on certifying the fraudulent election, on opposing President Trump at the wall, so on and so forth. I think these guys have a bright future ahead of them. And it might be a new day dawning in politics where you have candidates that don't really attack each other in a race. I hope to see that.
Sounds awfully polite. No vitriol. Oh, no. What will I do? Willie Montague, what do you say?
I don't know about not the attacking part. That's part of my spiel. But no, I agree with that. I do believe we have to focus on the policy aspect. What I would say, in addition to that, with focusing on attacking whether they are lacking in policy or not, is the fact that we really do have spineless people running for office in 2022, and they are absolutely have no concern for constituents, Constitution, liberty at all. And these are people who are wrapped up in the title of Republican, and they're wrapped up in being part of the elite because they want power, they don't want purpose. And this is where we have to start calling those things out. So I believe that there are people who are equally great candidates, and you only focus on the policy aspects. And then there's people who are just absolutely cowards to anything that pertains to really fighting for this nation. We are in one of the greatest fights of our country that we will experience, as me being 33 years old. And right now, we don't need people to just resurrect their feelings and emotions to be, a candidate because it looks good on their resume. They need to be a candidate because they really want to save America from being flushed down the toilet by tyranny every single day that we wake up with the current Biden administration that we have. So that is my take on that, is that we really need to make sure we're getting all of the non-essential candidates out of the way and make sure that those who remain are those who are going to fight for our country.
And you got to utilize technology to do that. And I think that's how you overcome the money problem. You have to be really smart with your use of technology. And that's been very difficult because, so many candidates have been smart with how they use technology. But you've got these big tech oligarchs who are really fascist in the sense of the word, right? They have melded with government. They take government orders. They take orders from the CDC. They take orders from Fauci. They take orders from political candidates. They donate to one party. So they're really part of the government. And really, so therefore, they've forgone any right to censor because they are a governmental apparatus, and they are fascistic because they have melded with the government. So because of this, we can't get out the message using technology. So that's why it's really important to fund conservative technology outlets and to push for not just conservative social media, but just vertical integration. What I mean by that is you've got conservative ownership of everything from the bank to the software company, the servers, the hosting site. And so we have a lot of that in place, but we still have a little bit of a ways to go.
You're listening to the political advice of consultant David Dambroso, joining me, Tommy McKay, with also Dr. Willie Montague. Both of you guys joining me this evening. I really appreciate it. Back to this thing, because it's my idea, so I keep remembering it. I want the summit between Nathan Dom and Jackson Law, not so that they can attack each other, but focus the Republican message. If we send simply let these boys just meander off with no focus, then the electorate is just split. How do we focus the splitness, boys?
Well, I'm working on it. So I'm trying to
organization, like you
talk.
said. Okay, organization, like you said. Strategy through the technology, but utilizing the technology to get the message to the right. Yes, Dambroso.
Well, yes. We need that, but what we really need too is something I'm working on, something I've been passionate about for a long time, and that is creating sort of an intergroup council to nominate candidates and to support them, to get some of the larger political groups and factions together to lay out parameters for running candidates and how we select candidates and what we, legally, ethically give people to line up for offices where they're needed, so we don't have a glut of 17 people running for the same office. We can figure out where they want to go, where they might be useful, where their experience would lead them, and then really, facilitate the win for them with a lot of resources that we have.
See, I like that idea, except for GT Bynum just started a PAC group that's going to do the same thing for him. I don't like that.
The Rhinos
idea.
have been doing this for a long time.
Yeah,
This is only for constitutional conservatives.
Fire to fire. Willie Montague, I got a question about the mayor's race and your race also. I know the mayor's race here in Tulsa is nonpartisan, which means you're unable to even differentiate yourself. When we were talking about the ranked choice voting, that's where differentiating yourself doesn't matter again, and the message gets diluted on either side. So for you out there in Orlando with this, who is it, Jerry Demings, is that a part, when Jerry Demings runs for mayor, is it a nonpartisan mayoral race?
Or do I think Orange County is nonpartisan, but one thing about
you don't get to recognize your party. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can recognize it. Yes, you can recognize it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can recognize it, even if it's nonpartisan. But it doesn't matter if they could or not, because we're going to recognize it. So we have quite a bit of organizations here that are very good at getting out information up until the elections of who that represents our party platform. So that's been something that's here. The family, I think it's a Family Research Council, which is John Stenberger. He does a lot, the Florida Family Research Council. He does a lot of research on candidates, and he actually puts them in all of the churches and let everyone know who is who. So and he does his, it's nonpartisan. He's a conservative, but he makes sure that he does it based off of their absolute constitutional backing and belief. So they have some organizations here, and but nonetheless, we know where Jerry Demings stands. I mean, his wife. I mean, come on. So we know where he stands, and people, Republican or Democrat, they both are upset when he did that stunt with that mandatory vaccines for the county employees. That really, really, really is what really was the top of the icing on the cake, you would say. So he's really, this is it for him. This is what I firmly believe. And regardless, whether it's the recall or not, he's up for re-election in 2022. So we're going to get him one way or another.
Right. And so your election there, Willie, when is your primary there in Florida District 10?
August 23rd.
August
2022.
And the general?
Is November 3rd.
November. Okay, so August 22 is the main deal. Hey, Dambroso, remind everybody where they can find you.
You can find me at 4dag.org. That's 4dag4dag.org. And you got a portal there to contact me. It's very simple. And I do have to run, but I just want to say, we all know there's no such thing as a nonpartisan election. But like you said, sometimes your party affiliation doesn't get recognized in the ballot. But you better realize that there is a very real party affiliation in every election. There's certainly an ideological affiliation, and that's going to determine the direction of this nation. So I really appreciate what Willie's doing out there in Orange County.
And your help also, political consultant David Dambroso. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you coming here for your analysis. We'll see you next time. Dr. Willie, we've got just a couple of minutes to go here. Let's remind now we're on the reminding everybody how to find them. Just say all the business on how to get to you, how to donate, and what is the max donation, and what are your donations looking like? Are you getting good flow of people
We're getting
donating?
some flow. We need more people to donate. TeamWillie.com. You go there, and the max is $2,900 per individual. Of course, if you are married, you can double that. So go to TeamWillie.com. We're really looking for people to do reoccurring donations, $25, $10, whatever you're able to do. I'm on social media, Instagram, Twitter. I'm on Facebook, and you can just pretty much search in Willie Montague, and I guarantee you're going to find it, or even Team Willie, you're going to find it somewhere. We are out there, and people are contacting us every day. So we're available. We have an excellent team who is making sure that we get the information relayed to me, and that we're on it. We filled out hundreds of religious exemption forms. We have, just been to churches. We've been all over the place. So if you want to get involved, and you want to help through monetary contributions, teamwillie.com is a website. Share with someone. You may know some people that live here in Florida and want to help out. So that's it. And Tom, once again, thank you for the opportunity. I always love coming on.
My
3D
pleasure.
Politics.
Gosh, yeah. It's my great opportunity.
This is going to be an awesome election cycle. So everybody stay calm, stay encouraged. We're going to get this time. We're going to do it.
What about little donations? $5 counts, $10 counts, every little thing?
Oh, absolutely. We've had people donate $3, and $3 can go a long way. So anything matters in this race, because one thing about it is that shows that there are people supporting us. And so we could have 35 people do $2,900 and get $100,000, but that doesn't equal what we can have 1,000 people giving $25, because that show 1,000 people really care about the campaign. So $5, $3, whatever it is that you're able to do, even if you want to do an in-kind contribution and you say, hey, I know this, that, hey, I'm all for it. Help us any way that you can. Call us. We have some people that even message us and just say, hey, Willie, I'm praying for you. That goes a long way.
Yeah. Your passion is infectious. I just love it, and I know that this isn't momentum on your part. This isn't the first time you've been doing this, and it certainly will be the last. And so I can see you've got saving the republic in the long-term battle here. You're not just running one election to see if you can recall a mayor or win a Florida District 10 for some time being. You're literally passionate about saving these kids through the House of Timothy, which is quite amazingly wonderful and honorable, and pastor at Gravity Church. Also, pick up his book, The Fruits of Leadership. You're setting a great example for these young kids, and I'm always amazed at talking to you. So thanks again. We're going to have you back. We'll see August, so we're going to want to have you back here within 90 days to talk about an update.
All right. Yes, sir. Thank you again.
So we'll do it again. Team Willie right there. Dr. Willie Montague, thanks again for coming. I'll let yourself out. Yes, sir. We appreciate Dr. Montague for showing up this evening and sharing all that stuff from Orlando, and David Dambroso for also enjoying us. Now, I've got a real exciting show coming up next week. You will not believe it. Adam Motisette, the Moto, coming in next week to talk about a couple of things in particular. One area that I'm sure we'll agree on is the Afghanistan blunder by the Joe Biden. The one thing that I can't wait to have him try to convince me of is the idea that we need a third party move, that we're going to split the party into the Patriot Party is a third party, so I can't wait to hear his rationalizations and justifications for that, and I'm sure he'll make a pretty good point. Always good to hear from Moto, and I thanks for him going to show up next week. So, without further ado, let's get ourselves out of here. Goes like this. You never know. What does Bynum say?
Yeah, trust
me. That's right. 3D Politics next week. met to talk about the Afghanistan plunder and the need for a third party, the Patriot Party. We'll see you guys next week right here on 3D. I am the Verbal Viking.